Hi everybody, it's Caleb Graham, and this is a special edition of Mix It Up. I'm by myself today. Um, Alexis and I actually had not planned to do any shows this week because she was just coming back in from her vacation, and I've been celebrating my birthday, which was this past Sunday. I've done something special almost every day this week. It's been a lot of fun. Um, but I'm coming in because I wanted to talk about a couple of things that have happened this week in the news. Obviously, the Malaysia flight that we talked about last week, MH17 that was shut down in Ukraine. That's still a huge topic in the news right now. Lots of stuff going on with that. Yesterday they had delivered the bodies to Amsterdam, and I saw on TV the procession of all the people that had come and everything. It was just really special to see people, caring so much about that. Um, and obviously, what's going on in Gaza right now with Israel and Hamas fighting is just insane. There's so much insane stuff going on in the world right now. But um, there's two things. Well, one of the things and that hits home in the U.S. that I wanted to talk about um, was this thing in New York with the Brooklyn Bridge. I'm going to move over a little and see if I can make this not so dark on me because of all that light behind me. There, that's a little better, right? Maybe. It's hard when I sit in front of windows. There we go. Let's scoot this back a little. That's a little bit better. Anyway, sorry. I'll move all my stuff over. I'll move this too, so I'm not so loud. There we go. Okay. Now that we've worked out the technical difficulties. See, when I do this by myself, I can't even do it. Anyway, the first thing I wanted to talk about was this thing in New York with the Brooklyn Bridge. So a couple of days ago, everybody woke up and found these white flags. They had been put in place of the American flags up on the stone supports that are on top of the bridge. And this, of course, is the bridge that connects Manhattan to Brooklyn. And it was just bizarre because everybody looks up and there's these white flags where these American flags are supposed to be. Now, I've been to New York several times, so I know, what it looks like. The New York Police Department said that they have no idea who committed this. It was a huge security breach for the city of New York. Definitely doesn't look too good from my standpoint. Anyway, the NYPD Commissioner Bill Bratton said that he was not particularly happy about this event. I wouldn't be either, Bill. And they say that they have a surveillance video that shows a group of 5 young men, white males, that look to be in their late teens or early 20s. And one of them had a skateboard. So they have been obviously watching videos from that night trying to figure out, who these are. All the pictures seem to be pretty blurry according to the reports and what they're seeing. On the video, though, it shows that at about 3:30 in the morning, the lights that, flash and shine on the flags on either side of the bridge are like flickering a little bit, and then they go out. Then there's about a 13-minute gap. This is what the commissioner said. There was about a 13-minute gap between the tower, the lights going out, and the white flags going up. So then in the morning was when, obviously, when it started to be daylight, people noticed that these American flags were gone and these white flags were in place. Now, the first thing that comes to mind is interesting because obviously white flags are a symbol of surrender, so I don't know who they would be trying to say we were surrendering to or who was surrendering to what. It's hard to say because they don't know. But the police did say, and this is a quote from a quote that said, "At this time, there is no sign of a particular nexus to terrorism or even politics. It could be someone's art project or a statement, but it's not clear what that statement is." And that was from Mr. Miller, who was with the New York Police Department. They are running tests on the flags to see, because the thing that was interesting was if you look really close to the pictures, and we posted a picture on the blog yesterday, that it looks like the flags were bleached, because you can still see a hint of blue and red stripes. Well, not blue stripes, but red stripes, and then the blue area where the stars are on our flag. The other thing that was interesting was how they were able to climb up there and do this. Initially, they thought that they may have had experience in construction or working with bridges, because it takes, it doesn't look like, and it's really not that easy to get around. They have gates and everything locking the area off. Another quote from Miller that I read said, when the emergency services went up there, the gates were still up and locked. For someone to go around it and go up to the tower and have right-sized cover to put over the light, there's some indication of pre-operational planning. It's just very bizarre. All of they used aluminum tins to cover the lights. They had been tied together, so they knew what the size of the lights were. The flags were the same as the thing that I'm confused about, my question is, did they actually bleach the flags while they were there, or did they replace them? That's what I think they're inspecting them to find out, maybe the answer to that question. It's just very bizarre. And this morning I was reading that yesterday they had police and investigators and everything all in the area the whole day, patrolling. They had people walking back and forth between Brooklyn and Manhattan on the bridge all day. They put up new surveillance cameras, all kinds of things, because this does not look good for New York. I mean, especially after all that has happened up there with 9/11 and things like that, you would think that the security would always be 100% no matter what time of the day it was. Especially if there's surveillance cameras on that area that shows the guys there. How did somebody miss that? How did somebody not see that? That's a huge landmark. It's a very vulnerable landmark. It needs to be watched all the time. That's what I'm so frustrated about, is because of everything that has happened up there, how something like this, however small it is, those flags or whatever those guys did, that could have been terrorists putting bombs up there. They could have blown the bridge up. Who knows what. And it's just absolutely mind-boggling that something like this can happen. I just don't understand. Manny Gomez, who's a security expert, was quoted in an article that I read this morning about this. It makes us look vulnerable, which is not good. The question is the U.S. becoming complacent with security because we haven't really had anything major happen in a while? It seems that way. It's not good. Hopefully they will step it up after this. I'm really hoping that they find out who did it and why also, because it's just bizarre. It's very random, makes no sense, but things that terrorists do don't make sense sometimes, do they? So, which leads me into the other topic I wanted to talk about. This hit me really hard when I heard this story. Because I am a Christian and I was raised a man of faith, and they're reporting, well, everyone's reporting how the ISIS terrorist group are forcing Christians out of Iraq. They're fleeing by the thousands, and this is a religion, a group of people that have lived in northern Iraq since Jesus. The Christianity was introduced in Iraq by disciples of Jesus. It was, I read St. Thomas and St. Thaddeus also. St. Thaddeus was also known as St. Jude. This was in the 1st century. So it's been more than 2,000 years that Christians have lived in Iraq. And there's always been a sense of religious tolerance in Iraq. You would hear Muslims praying. In this particular city that is being discussed, one thing that I read said you could sometimes hear Muslims praying and church bells going at the same time. There's always been a sense of religious tolerance in this area. And this was what they announced. ISIS announced that any Christians, this past Friday, Christians had to convert over to Islam. They had to pay the, I don't know if I'm saying this correctly. If anybody knows, you can correct me. Jizya or Hizya. I don't know if you pronounce the J or not, but anyway, it's a Muslim tax. So basically, it is money that you would pay to protect yourself, which, and apparently it's a very large amount of money also. The last option is to leave, so you can flee, go live somewhere else. If you don't do any of those things, you, quote, there's nothing for you but the sword. So basically, you convert, you pay, you leave, or you die. That's what this ISIS group is telling these people. It's just very sad, you know, and one of the issues that bothers me is, and especially in the United States, we have become so obsessed, and I was talking about this on Facebook yesterday with some of my Facebook friends. Our country has become so obsessed with being politically correct that you can't even stand up for and have for Christians, for people of any religion. These people are being persecuted because of what they believe in. You know, yeah, this doesn't happen. It happens in the United States. You know, not on the same scale, but people are persecuted. I get given a hard time before about being a Christian. You know, people that don't believe in God or whatever, everybody's gonna got the right to their own opinion, but I think that we need to stop being so politically correct and look at what's happening to people. Like, you have to have compassion for these people. You know, we're not really doing anything about it. That's one of the article that I read this morning talked about how President Obama hasn't really made any effort to put any force to this ISIS group. And the question is, do we ignore it and let it happen, or do we do something about it? I mean, clearly it didn't work the first time. We've spent years over there developing this Iraqi army, which literally disintegrated in seconds as soon as ISIS showed up. I don't know. I think it's stupid. Something needs to be done. I don't know if it's supposed to be the United States or if it's supposed to be another country or whoever. I mean, all of the UN's Secretary General said he is particularly disturbed by the reports of threats against Christians. That's great. You're disturbed, but somebody has to do something about it. You know, these people can't be just forced. This is an entire group of people from this land that are being completely annihilated. Like, it's ancient roots. It's tradition. It's roots. It's, you know, something that has been in Iraq forever almost, you know, or at least since Jesus' time. They're being, and it's violent, you know, and that's the thing that some people are saying is, you know, these statements that the UN, that our president's making, that the European Union is making, how they, you know, don't agree with ISIS, they denounce ISIS, whatever, they're not really doing anything about it. And these kind of people are, quote, bloodthirsty savages, which is true, they are. They know nothing. They don't, all they know is terrorism. All they know is killing, annihilating, everything. It's absolutely insane, and it's so sad because I feel for those people. You know, these are people that share my same beliefs. I obviously will pray for them. That's something that I would encourage other Christians to do. Pray for these people. You know, they're fleeing all that they've ever known. They're leaving behind. They're not even letting them take things with them. There's been checkpoints where they've had to stop and give up any belonging that they had. They're only being allowed to leave in the clothes that they have on their backs. You know, it's very sad. Some of them, though, are saying that they're not going to leave. Which, by the way, let me cite the article that I'm getting this information from. It's from Fox News. And it was published yesterday online. I'm sorry. It was published, today's Thursday, it was published on Tuesday. Anyway, in the article, there was a Syrian Catholic archbishop in this area who said, if we all leave, it sends a message that there is nowhere safe for Christians to live in Iraq, and this worries me. I'm not a vagabond. This is my home, and I will die here if necessary. I mean, I definitely give credit to him for standing up for it, but for his beliefs, and Christians die every day all over the world. This is not new. This has happened before. It's just now, I think, with media and the way that things go, we know about things quicker. We can talk about it more openly because it's more prevalent. But this is not new. This has happened before in Kosovo. It's happened all over the world in different times. Christians have always been persecuted. That's one of the things that Jesus said was, if you follow me, you will suffer persecution. That was something that Jesus said in the Bible. People were persecuted for their faith during his time. People that believed in Jesus were persecuted for it. This is not something new. It's just something that comes with the faith. It's just sad that these people are having to go through this. I wish that somebody could do something about it, whether it be us or another country. Somebody needs to do something. These people cannot continue to terrorize this country and ruin these people's lives who have lived there for all this time. It's absolutely crazy. Let's see. There was one other thing that I was going to say about this, or that I was going to read from this article. Hold on just a minute. Oh, here we go. This was a quote from the New York Times. Many Christians interviewed expressed a sense of utter abandonment and desolation. They remarked that the sound of church bells mingled with Muslim calls to prayer, a symbol of long-standing religious tolerance, would likely never be heard again. That was what I was talking about earlier about the religious tolerance. It's absolutely so sad. And I really hope that something happens soon, that maybe this ISIS group can be annihilated, these people can return to their homes and their businesses and everything. I just, it's very sad. I did want to show, one of the things I wish I could do on this show is show you photos. So I'll just hold it up to the camera. But this picture is from the article that I printed off from Fox News, and it says in the caption, it's an old damaged Orthodox church, and it's pictured in the besieged area where a lot of this is going on. And it's really sad. All the windows are busted. Some of the roof is gone, and the picture is through the torn gate. It's actually an interesting photo, but there it is right there, so you can see. But anyway, that's my thoughts on these issues. I would love to hear your thoughts. You can tweet me at Caleb Graham or at MixItUpTV, hashtag MixItUp, and let me know what you think. You can also leave comments here at the bottom. I do want to talk about one more thing before I go, though. There was some comments on the last broadcast that we had about the MH17 flight and what's going on in Gaza. I would like to say, for anybody who watches this and for anybody who watches this in the future, we are not professional journalists. I'm not a professional journalist. Alexis is not a professional journalist. Rachel is not a professional journalist. Anybody who appears on this show is not a professional journalist. Everything that we read or research comes from either things that we hear from reports on television, newspaper articles, magazine articles, or online articles. Actually, most of the stuff we talk about is things that we read online. This article, like I said, I printed it from the internet. And then the Brooklyn Bridge things, where I got a lot of my information. I read several articles online from ABC, from Fox, from CNN, all over. I like to look at different sources to see. And then, for that, I made notes for. And then I, refer to my notes when we're talking about things. We are not professionals. We do our best just like any journalists do. I am an aspiring journalist, I will say that. Hopefully going back to school for that soon. But we, just like any journalist would who is a professional, we do our best to read and research the things that we're going to talk about so that we, know. Nobody's perfect. Sometimes things are said wrong, or we maybe give an opinion that seems ignorant or not. Either way, this is us talking about things we read, and that's it. We're not claiming to be professional journalists who are going to report everything absolutely perfect. Obviously, if we say something that's really wrong, we'll correct it later. So just be aware of that whenever you're watching. This is an opinion-based broadcast. It's us taking things that we read or things that's going on in the world and talking about our thoughts on it. Obviously, for the news part, we will do our best to give the facts as they are that we read, but sometimes things get a little, messed up from time to time. So we will apologize for that in the future if that ever happens again, and then we will correct it later on. But anyway, share your opinions. Don't be afraid to. Obviously, you can yell at us and fuss at us on YouTube comments or on Twitter, however much you want to. because we love it. We love hearing what you have to say. So we'll be back next week. Alexis is back. We'll be back next week with some new shows. We're going to do a little bit of more fun things next week. Obviously, we'll talk about all the serious stuff, but we will do some fun things too. So I'm going to go because I have to go to a doctor's appointment. Got to go get my chiropractor, get my back adjusted. Feels good. Let me hear your thoughts. Let us know. Also, I updated the blog site yesterday for Mix It Up. So if you go to mixituptv.wordpress.com, we're going to start posting more blogs. Sometimes we'll post things about what we're going to talk about on the show that day or the next day, or follow-ups to things that we've talked about on the show or anything like that. So also we'll put all of our videos there as well. So go over there to mixituptv.wordpress.com and follow us there on Twitter at mixituptv, me at Caleb Graham, and Alexis at KitKatLexi. And also you can like me on Facebook. Wait, there's a plane passing. I don't know if you can hear that. You can follow me on Facebook too, facebook.com/CalebGrahamOfficial. Let us hear from you and watch the videos and rate and comment. And I will see you next week. Bye.